On the night Austen Kenning won the Brit Award, the host asked him, "I heard this song was specifically written to diss your ex-girlfriend?" "Yes, it was," Austen replied. "Can we give her a call?" the host pressed, seizing the moment. The next second, my phone started ringing. Before I could say anything, my feverish nephew whimpered, "Mummy, it hurts." The entire audience watched as Austen's face changed dramatically, his eyes reddening uncharacteristically. "It's been 3 years since we broke up. And you've got a perfect little family now, a loving mother and child," he said bitterly. "I'm the only idiot still stuck in the past, aren't I?" Ding! This novel reminds you to click the subscribe button in the bottom right corner to read the complete novel. The sharp scent of antiseptic filled the air as Austen's voice cut through like ice. This was the first time he had called me since our breakup. Danny, feverish and groggy, rested his head on my shoulder and mumbled, "Is that Dad? Is Dad coming back to pick up Danny?" My heart ached as I sniffled, trying to comfort him. Dad's still abroad, earning money to buy chocolates for Danny. Danny had always been easy to console. Hearing this, he softly murmured in agreement. It felt like an eternity before Austen's sarcastic voice came through the phone. "Do you hate me that much? You won't even say a word to me." He laughed bitterly. "Zelda Cargill, you're truly heartless." My hand, which had been soothing Danny, paused. After 5 years of loving Austen, I knew his temperament all too well. Childish, sharp-tongued, and never saying what he truly meant. The cool and aloof image he presented to the public was just a persona crafted by his management company. I thought that after our brutal breakup, he would treat me worse than a stranger. Now it seemed he hadn't changed a bit. I wasn't sure whether to be happy or sad about that. Ignoring the hidden hope in his prickly words, I steeled myself and said, "My son is ill. I have some things to take care of here, so I'll hang up now." Since we had broken up, it was best to make a clean break. That's what his manager had said. But I had overestimated myself. I gripped the phone tightly, feeling a heavy weight pressing on my chest, making it ache and tighten. The screen lit up, and Danny, still confused, pointed at the wallpaper and asked, "Is this the person Auntie likes?" In the photo, I was making a wish with my eyes closed in front of a birthday cake. Austen, catching me off guard, was mischievously smearing cream on my cheek. Even after all this time, I could still recall the irritation and the flutter in my heart from that moment. I forced a smile. Yes, it's someone I like. And someone I can't like anymore. While accompanying Danny to his IV drip, I stumbled upon trending news. #Austen Kenning Brit Awards. #Austen Kenning song specifically dissing ex-girlfriend. A series of trending topics about Austen Kenning caught me off guard. An ominous feeling crept over me. I took a deep breath and clicked on one of the videos. Austen, dressed in a smoke gray suit with his dark hair slicked back, revealing his handsome features. He needed only to stand in the spotlight to effortlessly captivate everyone's attention. "Congratulations to Mr. Kenning on winning this year's Brit Award." The host changed tack. "Many fans have heard that this song was specifically written to diss your ex-girlfriend?" Austen nodded coldly without even looking up. "Yes." Some fangirls in the audience screamed. The host pressed on, "Could we give her a call?" Austen agreed. When I answered the phone, he appeared relaxed, seemingly indifferent. Until Danny's whimpering cries came through the microphone. "Mummy, it hurts." Austen froze, his expression changing dramatically. Everyone watched as he snatched the phone and stumbled off camera. Before the host could warn him the mic was still on, his suppressed, icy voice exploded through the venue. 3 years after our breakup, you've got a perfect little family. Mother and son. How touching. I'm the only idiot still stuck in the past, aren't I? The screen went black. When Austen returned, his eyes were rimmed with red. He composed himself. "I apologize for my outburst earlier." A starlet from his agency came to his aid. "Mr. Kenning is truly loyal and caring, even towards his ex-girlfriend's child." As they left the stage, Austen's smile remained unchanged. "Mr. Kenning," the starlet called out awkwardly. "We're supposed to exit on the right." Austen stood in the left passageway, face to face with those about to go on stage. He smoothly retracted his step. "Sorry, I was distracted. As it was a live broadcast, the director could only quickly cut away. But these two slip-ups were caught by sharp-eyed viewers. Who's Austen Kenning's ex? I don't believe there are no lingering feelings. To have a song specifically written to diss her, this ex-girlfriend must not be a good person. Don't spread baseless rumors. This is just an inside joke among fans. I put on my headphones and played Austen's Brit Award-winning song. As the familiar intro began, I couldn't believe my ears. This was the demo Austen had written for me. He had played it for me on my birthday. Warm sunlight had streamed through the window, illuminating his carefree features. As he strummed the guitar, he said the song was called Beloved Star. But now... I paused, slowly scrolling to the top. Its name was Parting. Austen's PR team worked quickly. In less than a day, all posts attempting to reveal my identity were deleted. He also posted a clarification statement on Twitter. The wording was official, the tone cold. The message between the lines was clear: don't overthink it, fans. She's just an ex-girlfriend. We won't, and can't possibly get back together. So when I arrived, one arm holding Danny and the other laden with bags, I almost thought I'd come to the wrong door when I saw Austen. He must have been standing outside for a while. Stubble had started to show on his chin. Zelda, where's your husband? The child's been so ill, yet he's nowhere to be seen helping out. His almond-shaped eyes were hidden in the shadow of his baseball cap. Come to think of it, I never even sent a wedding gift. I feel terrible about that. Still the same familiar tone. I sighed and dropped the luggage at my feet. The child's father? He's off making money. Our family of 3 depends entirely on him. I pretended not to notice Austen's increasingly cold expression. As I made up a touching love story. Finally, I added, as if an afterthought. If you still want to give a gift, it's not too late. The door creaked open. I gestured to Austen, who was standing at the corner. Want to come in for a bit? Since we were living in an old council housing block. Danny, who was resting on my shoulder, was quickly awakened by the noise. He opened his sleepy eyes. My brow furrowed, and I hastily interrupted him. I know you love mushrooms, I'll make some for dinner tonight. Danny obediently closed his mouth and looked up, sweetly calling Austen uncle. I could feel Austen's mood sink even lower. I take after my mom, my brother takes after our dad. But little Danny, unexpectedly, bears some resemblance to me. It's fine if he misunderstands. I let out a breath and took Danny, whose eyes were still darting between us, back to the room to put him to sleep. He lay under his little blanket and said in the most childish voice, but with the most serious words, "Auntie, Danny thinks he's a good man." I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. You little rascal, go to sleep now. He held my hand, his gaze sincere. Auntie, in the future, you can be with whoever you want. Don't worry about Danny. Suddenly, I felt a lump in my throat. Danny should have had a happy, complete childhood. But a sudden car accident took his father's life, and his mother remarried. Only he was left, forced to grow up too soon. I stroked his hair and said softly, Danny, you'll always be the most important. After Danny fell asleep, I quietly closed the door. Austen, nearly 6 feet 3 inches tall, sat awkwardly on the sofa, trying to make himself smaller. I poured him a glass of water. What brings you here? Austen lazily changed his position. Can't I visit you without a reason? Oh right, you're married now. I suppose you'd rather keep your distance from your ex-boyfriend. He smiled, but oddly emphasized the words ex-boyfriend. I sighed, realizing my size had increased exponentially since seeing Austen. Can we talk properly? Austen's expression darkened. He stared at me intently, his eyes revealing long-suppressed hurt. After a moment, he forced a smile. Fine. I just heard you were alone at the hospital and thought you might need help. Seems I was worried for nothing. I nodded. Now that you've seen me, you can leave. The atmosphere suddenly turned cold. Austen fidgeted with his sleeve, then let out a bitter laugh. Zelda, do you think I'm pathetic? He stood up, his tall figure almost looming over me. 3 years ago, you kicked me to the curb without a second thought. Now I'm back, following you around like a lost puppy. I awkwardly avoided his intense gaze. Seeing my silence, Austen laughed coldly and turned to leave. I shouldn't have come. Whether you live or die, it's none of my business anymore. He left with such determination that he knocked over my phone on the table before I could react. Austen quickly caught it. "Don't look!" I exclaimed, my brow furrowing. But it was too late. The screen lit up, revealing our photo together. The soft glow illuminated his prominent nose. His eyelashes cast a cold shadow beneath his eyes. In an instant, the secret I had kept for 3 years about him was exposed. I was mortified beyond words. Anyone who had just been caught out after a long-winded spiel about being over someone would want to crawl into a hole and disappear. But Austen clearly wasn't going to let me off the hook. He grabbed my wrist, his voice trembling slightly. "Zelda." It was low and soft, almost pleading. My heart couldn't help but flutter. During our passionate days, he used to kiss me and murmur sweetly, "Zelda, do you like me? You're not allowed to say no, Zelda." I'd be overwhelmed, whimpering "I like you" more times than I could count. Only then would he be satisfied, nuzzling my cheek. "That's wonderful, I like Zelda the most too." It seems no matter how many years pass, some memories are simply unforgettable. Like a needle hidden in cotton, they prick you unexpectedly. It doesn't hurt, but it aches terribly. Austen saw my hesitation and gripped my hand even tighter. I took a deep breath and pried his fingers off one by one. "My phone broke a couple of days ago, this is just an old backup. I forgot to switch it out." He was forced to let go of my hand. "So Austen, stop being pathetic." I met his nearly shattered gaze and said softly. The light in his eyes flickered and went out completely. "You've always been cruel." I should have known. Austen laughed self-deprecatingly. "When we broke up, you didn't want the earrings I gave you, or the succulents we'd grown for years, or even the dog we raised together." I looked at him silently, until his dejected figure disappeared from my sight. "Actually, that's not true, Austen. I'm the most sentimental person. I was afraid that if I brought these things back, I'd never be able to let you go. Seeing the earrings would remind me of how you hid them in a huge bouquet of roses on our anniversary. Seeing the succulents would remind me of how we spent ages choosing them at the flower market, naming the chubby cotyledon tomentosa one little green, and the round Pachyphytum moviferum one little pink. Seeing the puppy would remind me of how you'd hug me from behind to warm my tummy when I wasn't feeling well, and it would just lie there, letting me pet it. At that moment, I felt like I had the whole world. I'm a coward, and my greatest act of courage was taking this old phone with me. You bought it for me secretly when you sold your first song. It's been knocked about and dropped so many times. I've replaced parts over and over until it became unrecognizable even to you. We've become unrecognizable too." The cold wind blew in through the window. I curled up on the sofa, suddenly bursting into tears. Austen flew back to B-City overnight. Soon after, the award-winning actress Paula Newbold released a new song. In the composer column, Austen Kenning's name was prominently displayed. The trending topics immediately exploded. Austen said he wouldn't compose for anyone but himself. Didn't expect Paula Newbold to be the exception. I ship it. Paula and Austen were on the same reality show before. Seems they formed a connection then. Out with the old, in with the new. Forget about the ex-girlfriend, Austen, look at our beautiful, lovely, and kind Paula. The midday sun was intense, making it difficult for me to keep my eyes open. Yet I still felt cold. Danny ran out of the nursery with his little backpack, worriedly tugging at my clothes. "Auntie, what's wrong?" I came back to my senses and forced a smile. "It's nothing." But Paula's tweet from yesterday couldn't be erased from my mind. Thanks to my rock. Without his help, my new song wouldn't have been born. In the photo, her smile was radiant and captivating. The man beside her wasn't in the frame, only showing a hand with distinct knuckles resting on the table. I recognized the owner of the hand at a glance. It was Austen. There was a deep crescent-shaped scar on the web of his hand. It was from when he grabbed me to prevent me from falling into a ditch, and got scratched by an iron fence. At that time, I looked at his bloody wound, tears streaming down uncontrollably. The sting of hydrogen peroxide must have been unpleasant. But Austen still teased me with a mischievous grin. "Why are you crying? You're not the one who's hurt." I pressed down harder as I applied the medicine. And he immediately grimaced. "Zelda, it hurts, it hurts." "Austen!" I glared at him fiercely, but with eyes full of tears, it hardly had any intimidating effect. "That ditch was shallow, I wouldn't have been hurt if I fell. But your hands are for playing guitar." As I spoke, I started crying again. Just thinking about what the nurse said about possible nerve damage. An overwhelming sense of guilt enveloped me. I had seen him perform night after night at the pub. The young man's ambition was grand enough to want to collect all the awards. But the young man's heart was also small enough to only see me. Austen wiped away my tears, his voice incredibly soft. But at that moment, all I could think about was saving my Zelda. "I couldn't bear to watch you get hurt." I buried myself in his embrace, feeling my heart swell with emotion. Both sour and sweet. Later, after recovering, Austen returned to the stage. Sharp-eyed fans asked him what happened to his hand. He acted mysterious. "This is a man's badge of honor." That night, contrary to his usual style, he sang many love songs. As they were leaving, I heard many fans whispering, wondering if the band's lead singer had a change of heart. I was waiting for him by the back door, kicking pebbles. Until his jacket, filled with his scent, enveloped me completely. He held my hand and lifted the jacket to join me underneath. We exchanged a kiss in the darkness. He asked me softly, "Did you like it?" Only then did I realize that all his love songs were sung for me. The roar of passing vehicles brought me back to reality. I put away my phone. Without even thinking, I knew Paula's comment section must have exploded with this trending topic. But I knew that the target of her tweet was me. Paula had secretly liked Austen since high school. During the 5 years I was with Austen, I endured no small amount of her sarcasm and ridicule. Now, she finally had the chance to step on me hard. As expected of my former best friend, I thought with a bitter smile. She knew exactly where to stab to make me hurt the most. Whether I like it or not, news about Austen and Paula floods my eyes like snowflakes. Austen attends a gala dinner, with Paula as his date. The spotlight shines on the black and white figures, looking as if they were made for each other. As Paula ascends the stairs, she accidentally steps on her long gown. Behind her, camera equipment is scattered everywhere. Austen reaches out and catches her just in time as she's about to fall. Attentive and thoughtful, like the perfect lover. Paula's face turns bright red in an instant. That night, she posts a photo of herself with Austen. The caption is sweet and ambiguous, "My hero saved me." I tuck Danny in, making sure he's covered properly, and block her profile while I'm at it. Suddenly, the world becomes peaceful. I think for a moment, unable to contain my curiosity, and secretly check Austen's Twitter feed. Although he's deleted me, his last 10 posts are visible to strangers. The most recent one is still from the night he won the Brit Award. I feel relieved yet disgusted with myself at the same time. Zelda Cargill, you're such a coward. You don't dare say anything, yet you secretly hope he knows everything. But who would want to accept my family, which could be considered a stain? I turn off my phone, suddenly feeling low. The rumors about Austen and Paula reach their peak on a reality show. During a game of truth or dare, the bottle spins towards him. The person asking the question is a young actor, who asks with a wink, "Mr. Kenning, is there someone you fancy here?" Austen, having had a few drinks, nods slowly. The crowd starts cheering loudly, all looking towards Paula on the other side. Paula tucks a strand of hair behind her ear, lowering her head shyly. The comments immediately explode by thousands. The silver couple is real. How can this not end in marriage? Paula's gaze is so passionate, true love conquers all. But I notice Austen in the corner. He's absent-mindedly rubbing his wrist. Back when he used to perform at bars, some bold fans would come asking for his contact information. When I found out, I tied my hair tie around his wrist, marking my territory. "It's so ugly, doesn't suit my wild style at all," he complained. But he obediently wore it on stage. In the midst of the heated atmosphere, he waves at his fans. He grins mischievously, "I've got a jealous one at home, please understand." At that moment, even the wind seemed to roar. But now, everything has changed. I watch as Austen slowly closes his eyes. He doesn't explain, nor does he reject Paula's closeness. The next morning, I woke up with a splitting headache. Only then did I realize what a mess I'd made in my drunken state the night before. With trembling hands, I scrolled through the endless stream of "I miss you" messages, my heart pounding as I reached the top. A red exclamation mark. Thank goodness, Austen had deleted me. He'd even blocked my texts. When we were together, I'd followed the trend and registered on numerous couples forums, linking our profiles as partners on each one. I hadn't expected him to be so thorough, systematically blocking me on every single one. Covering my face in shame, I checked the last social media platform. It was where we'd first met online. Surprisingly, Austen hadn't blocked me there. In response to my late-night frenzy, he replied, "Wrong person?" Cold as ice, like a complete stranger. Exhausted, I carefully chose my words. "Sorry, my child was messing about with my phone." "I'm so sorry, Danny. Auntie will make you a nice dinner tonight to make up for it." Austen didn't send any more messages. But his agent did. "Miss Cargill, did Austen come to see you 2 months ago?" I sat up straight and explained the whole situation to her. After a long pause, she replied, "I see. I hope you remember our agreement, Miss Cargill." I smiled bitterly. The agent's words from 3 years ago were still etched in my memory. "Miss Cargill, as a public figure, Austen will be held to the highest moral standards by everyone. We can't allow any flaws in his image, such as having a wife whose mother was imprisoned for killing her husband." I was speechless. During my mother's trial, the online comments were vicious. No one paid attention to the few mentions of long-term domestic abuse. Instead, they focused entirely on the outcome. She had waited until my father was bedridden, then poured an entire bottle of rat poison into his food, spoon-feeding it to him. Then, she put on her prettiest dress and turned herself in with a smile. I heard this woman has a daughter. Will she end up killing her husband too? You never know with genetics, it's quite possible. How terrifying, who would dare to marry her daughter? The agent recited those comments mechanically. I pleaded, my face pale, "Please stop." She changed tack. "Miss Cargill, our company sees great potential in Austen and will do everything to support his career. You know his dreams. We hope you can let him go." It was a long time before I heard my own voice. All right. As it turned out, the agent was right. I retreated to another city, struggling to make ends meet, while Austen shone brightly on stage. The distance between us grew ever wider, like an insurmountable chasm. I couldn't cross it, nor did I have the chance to try. The day I had arranged to meet my mother coincided with Danny's nursery school trip to Richmond Park. He was so excited about going with his little friends, looking at me with pleading eyes. With no other choice, I entrusted him to a familiar parent, reminding him repeatedly to be on his best behavior. Danny's dimples deepened as he smiled, running lightly onto the bus. Half an hour later, I finally saw my mother. She looked at me calmly, her eyes filled with composure. Separated by a glass window, I asked her, "Are you doing all right?" Her voice was hoarse. "Very well. I haven't had a bad day since your father died." For a moment, I didn't know what to say. She and my father had worked away from home for years, leaving my brother and me in our countryside home. I was too young then. Too young to understand why she wore long sleeves and trousers even in the scorching heat. Too young to comprehend why she would push me away forcefully when I tried to hug her like other children did with their mothers. I always thought she didn't like me. My cousin from Uncle's family said the same. She showed me the chocolate her mom bought. "This is from my mom." "You don't have any. Your mom doesn't like you. That's why she left you here." Finally, one day, I received a call from my brother at Uncle's house. "Zelda, Mom's come back to see us. Mom said not to tell anyone else. Come back secretly." I jumped for joy and ran home excitedly. Uncle saw me at the door, Someone's come to visit? Looking at my cousin behind Uncle, I couldn't help but boast. Yes. It's my mom's friend. She's come to see me and my brother, and she's brought us lots and lots of chocolate. Uncle didn't say anything. But the next day, Father came back overnight as well. The red circle on the calendar was at the end of December, usually when my parents would return home. Counting on my fingers, I realized they had come home 3 whole months early this time. Was I dreaming? Mother forced a smile and patted my head. A few days later, she left with Father. It was only later that I learned she had been scared by Father's beatings and was planning to run back to her parents' home. She couldn't bear to part with my brother and me, so she wanted to see us one last time before leaving. I had ruined her plan. Uncle, tapping his pipe, said that my mother's family lived very far away, and her friend couldn't have found our house without someone leading the way. From that day on, Mother became increasingly silent. When my brother and I both found jobs, she began her revenge. She was finally free. Zelda. Her gaze through the glass window seemed particularly distant. Do you hate me? I thought I should hate her. She got her freedom, but my brother lost his job because of it. He switched to driving lorries and died on a rainy mountain road. My sister-in-law gave birth to his child posthumously but remarried. Unable to bear the gossip, I raised Danny alone, forced to separate from Austen forever. But looking at her wrinkles, I suddenly couldn't utter the word hate. She was herself first, then a mother and a wife. I could blame her for killing Father, but I couldn't blame her for her desperate and helpless self-preservation and rebellion. I don't know, I said, looking at her, tears streaming down my face. After retrieving my mobile, I suddenly noticed a news alert. A coach traveling to Richmond Park has overturned on a mountain road. It's been confirmed that the passengers were nursery school staff and children. The scene is currently cordoned off, and rescue efforts are underway. I froze, unable to process the information immediately. Richmond Park. Wasn't that where Danny's nursery was going for their spring outing? Just a few hours ago, I had personally put him on that coach. An overwhelming sense of dread engulfed me. Suddenly, I remembered the lorry buried in mud several years ago. My brother's upper body hanging out of the window, his hand reaching towards the sky. The blood had been washed away by the rain, making him look as if he were merely sleeping. Only he was covered in dirt. I was on the verge of a breakdown. With all my strength, I hailed a taxi, begging the driver to rush to Richmond Park. Throughout the journey, I kept asking myself why I had let Danny board that coach. I should have stopped him. Or I should have gone with him, so I could shield him if anything happened. He's so young, how could he protect himself in such a disaster? The driver, seeing me sobbing uncontrollably, couldn't help but ask through the rearview mirror. Miss, do you know someone on that overturned coach at Richmond Park? I roughly wiped my tears, my eyes bloodshot. My nephew was on it. The driver paused, then silently increased his speed. After a whirlwind ride, I shakily paid the fare and stumbled out. The accident scene was bustling with activity. The scorching sun beat down on me as I seemed to catch the musty scent of death. Doctors were carrying out injured passengers one after another. But I couldn't spot Danny anywhere. In the hastily erected tents, children's cries echoed from all directions. I searched for a long time but couldn't find the familiar little face. Nearby, I overheard a conversation. Have they rescued everyone? The spot where it overturned is so dangerous, right next to a cliff. Anyone who fell would have no chance. My heart suddenly trembled. Could Danny have fallen off the cliff? I nearly collapsed. Zelda! A familiar voice called out to me. What are you doing here? I slowly turned around. Mary had scratches all over her limbs and a bandage around her forehead. Her daughter was holding her hand obediently, her big eyes sparkling, seemingly unharmed. I opened my mouth. After a long moment, I managed to squeeze out a few words. Where's Danny? She tilted her head in confusion. Just then, my phone suddenly rang. It was Austen calling. I fumbled to answer. Danny's energetic voice came through from the other end. Auntie. Danny's at the nursery, don't worry about me. When I saw Danny again, I practically pulled him into my arms with all my might. He was alive. Not a scratch on him. Danny, mature beyond his years, comforted me. Auntie, just before departure, I felt unwell. So I told the teacher I wouldn't go and waited at nursery for you to pick me up. I hurriedly took out my phone and saw the message from that parent in the group chat. It was sent 2 hours ago, right when the bus was supposed to leave. At that time, I was preparing to meet my mother and had no time to check. After getting my phone back, I was completely distracted by the sudden news. It turned out to be a false alarm. The tension I'd been holding suddenly eased. I held his hand, still shaken. Why didn't you call Auntie? Danny pressed his lips together, smiling sheepishly. Danny hadn't memorized it yet. How did he know Austen's number then? My gaze shifted. Austen was leaning quietly against the wall, his eyes downcast, lost in thought. Austen, I called softly. He barely lifted his thin eyelids, cold and distant. Don't misunderstand, I just happened to be in a city for an event. Danny clutched my sleeve. I sighed. No, I wanted to thank you. Thank you for answering a call from a stranger. Thank you for being willing to come. I'm sorry, I said, looking at my mud-covered shoes. I lied to you. Danny isn't my son, he's my brother's child. Austen gave me a long, deep look. He stepped closer to me, a faint scent of pine drifting over. Anyway, I told you before, whether you live or die, it's none of my business anymore. It doesn't matter if you lied to me or not, I don't care either way. I suddenly felt a bit panicky. As I stood up to grab him, everything started spinning. Then I remembered, with everything that happened this morning, I hadn't had a chance to eat breakfast. Danny's cries seemed to reach my ears half a beat late. I vaguely wanted to comfort him. It's okay, I just have low blood sugar. Don't learn from me in the future, okay? You should eat every meal properly. Just before I lost consciousness completely, I fell into a warm embrace. That pine scent was even closer now. I hazily recalled that when we were together, I said pine-scented cologne suited him best. I never thought that after 3 years, he still hadn't changed it. Zelda, I heard him sigh. You win, I still can't let you go. I was awakened by the aroma of seafood congee. Austen, wearing an apron, brought me a bowl brimming with the hearty soup. On top, there were tender pieces of squid and scallops, all my favorites. Danny poked his head around the doorframe, his big eyes darting about. After a moment, he slammed the door shut with a bang. Austen felt my forehead with the back of his hand. Good, no fever. My face reddened, and I leaned back slightly. How did you get in? Austen's hand paused. I quickly corrected myself, thank you. He lowered his eyes, withdrawing his hand nonchalantly. Your nephew let me in. You should thank your nephew then. What's with my nephew? 2 out of 3 sentences were about him. He must be sneezing nonstop out there by now. The soup was still a bit hot, the steam blurring Austen's features. Austen asked softly, Don't you have anything you want to tell me? I was taken aback. He seemed to lose all his energy, his broad shoulders slowly slumping. I saw all the messages my agent sent you. The spoon clattered back into the bowl. I nearly dropped it as some of the still scalding soup splashed onto my hand. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have kept it from you. My hand trembled slightly, a feeling of being exposed threatening to overwhelm me. Deception is the most taboo thing between couples. I had hidden the truth from Austen for several years, pretending I was also a child from a normal family. Every time he said he wanted to meet my parents, I found various excuses to put him off. Eventually, he stopped mentioning it. Austen slowly crouched down to my eye level. Your mom was very brave. You don't need to apologize. The grievances of the older generation have nothing to do with you, Zelda. Before, when you kept refusing to let me meet your parents, I thought you didn't want to marry me. He stroked my face. But you do, don't you? I held his hand, nodding vigorously as I sniffled. We'd been apart for 3 years, but how could I ever let go of him? Austen smiled, his handsome features relaxing. Then leave everything to me. I'll handle it. But your agent. I hesitated. Even my sister-in-law remarried because she couldn't bear the gossip. Moreover, Austen was the hottest new star in the industry. I shouldn't, and couldn't, be an obstacle on his path to pursuing his dreams. Austen pinched my nose gently. My contract with them is almost up. I now have the ability and the leverage to negotiate with them. Zelda, I'll explain everything to her. Austen returned to B-City. During this time, I interrogated Danny, the little rascal. How did you get Austen's phone number? Danny scampered into his room and brought out my old mobile. He declared confidently, "Aunt gave me the phone first. Not long ago, due to overtime at work, I had left him the phone with a new SIM card. I had set up speed dials so he could contact me quickly if anything happened. Later, while playing with the phone, he accidentally entered the contacts list. After some thought, he started dialing each number. The first was Dad, which was out of service. The second was Mom, but no one answered. The third was Brother, also out of service. The fourth was Sister-in-law. After a long ring, a timid voice answered, "Hello?" Danny stammered for a while, then weakly introduced himself. "Hi, I'm Danny Cargill. Have you seen my aunt? Her name is Zelda Cargill. It's almost 10 p.m. and she's not home yet." Danny is bored. The other end was silent for a long time. Suddenly, a child's cry could be heard. She hurriedly began to comfort the baby, her footsteps fading away. There, darling. Mummy's going to make you some milk." Danny held the phone, slowly remembering. The woman was his aunt's sister-in-law. So she was also Danny's mum. But Danny's mum now had her own baby. He hung up dejectedly and looked at the fifth contact. Austen. Danny thought, if he didn't want to talk either, then that would be it. He would be good and wait for his aunt to return, not bothering anyone else. The call connected. Danny excitedly introduced himself. The other end's tone was initially cold. But as soon as he heard that Zelda was his aunt, the voice immediately softened. And so, like in underground group's secret meetings, they would chat for a few minutes every night when they had the chance. I checked the call history. The screen was full of calls to Austen. My first reaction was to scold this little brat. Didn't he know phone calls cost money? He should at least hang up and let Austen call back. But all my words dissolved when I met Danny's bright eyes. I suddenly felt a bit sad and hugged him, saying softly, "Aunt will spend more time with you from now on, Danny." Austen's proposed solution was for him to leave the music industry. I nearly threw my phone across the room. "Austen, have you gone mad? Isn't music your greatest passion?" His voice was unusually carefree, yet somehow reassuring. "I'm just stepping away from the spotlight, not giving up my music career entirely. Zelda, before I became famous, I was never constrained by fans' expectations about not dating. I never considered that I couldn't be with someone because of their family background. It's ridiculous. Those days were so free. I could show off my scars from protecting you, and selfishly sing love songs to you all night long." He coughed, his tone now matter-of-fact. "But after cutting back on TV shows and meet and greets, I'll be earning less. Zelda, will you mind?" I pretended to hesitate. "How much less? If it's too much, I might have to reconsider." Austen broke character immediately. "Zelda Cargill. You wouldn't dare." I laughed, but suddenly found myself tearing up. "Austen." I choked up, unable to speak for a moment. "I'm just so happy that you still want to love me." He was silent for a beat, his voice now trembling slightly without realizing it. "Why so sentimental? Before I got the pub gig, I was busking in the underground. Living in a damp, dark basement flat. Everyone said I was mad, giving up my job to play music. You were the one who told me. You're going to be a big star, you'll win all the Brit Awards one day." He laughed softly, almost whispering. "Zelda, you were my motivation to keep pushing forward. In our darkest moments, we saved each other. After all the twists and turns, it's still you in the end." I wiped my tears and started digging up old issues. What was the deal with that song for Paula? Austen hesitated. What if I told you it was just a discarded demo? I was going to tear it up and bin it. But somehow Paula got hold of it and offered $100,000 for it. Only a fool would turn down that kind of money. I agreed immediately and even suggested she use a Category 1 card to pay, since Category 2 cards have daily limits. Then why were you sitting so close to her on that dating show? Hearing this, Austen immediately bristled. I haven't even called you out for lying to me about being married. I came to find you specifically, ready to convince you that with your child so ill and the father not around, you should get a divorce. I was willing to be the child's stepfather. But you were completely lovesick, even called me pathetic. I was fuming. I doubled over laughing and quickly apologized. Yes, it was all my fault. Please forgive me, oh magnanimous one. Austen pondered for a long while. Then your punishment shall be to stay by my side forever. Ugh. I felt goosebumps rising on my arms. What a cheesy chat-up line. After we reconciled, I quietly removed Paula from my block list on Twitter. As expected, she immediately started to go mad. I guess the one in front of you can't compare to your first love, she tweeted. I gave you my youth, all 10 years of it, my great hero, came another tweet. The comment section was full of familiar IDs eagerly lapping up the drama. She put on an act of purity and innocence, playing the victim with her pitiful tweets. Since they all love gossip so much, I'll give them something to really talk about. After Austen officially announced our relationship, Twitter exploded into chaos. I joined in. After all I've been through, I've had my moments of insecurity and confusion. But in the end, it's still you by my side, I tweeted. Oh, I had plenty of evidence. I posted screenshots of Paula's comments saying I wasn't good enough for Austen, accidentally forgetting to crop out her profile picture. Then, amidst the frenzied discussions of netizens, I hurriedly deleted the post and apologized sheepishly. I'm so sorry, I selected the wrong photo by mistake at Paula Newbold. I'm not very good with social media, can you forgive me at Paula Newbold? Paula's reputation took a nosedive. People dug up stories of her diva behavior and schedule conflicts. Combined with my well-timed strike, her reputation in the industry was thoroughly ruined. She tried to frantically insult me. Unfortunately, as soon as she posted her first comment, I replied with the distracted boyfriend meme and blocked her with regal indifference. I was in a great mood. Life is long, there's no need to argue with fools. Austen's farewell concert was held a month later. Under the dazzling lights, he looked relieved. I've actually been wanting to leave the entertainment industry for a while. Living like a product every day is truly exhausting. From now on, I won't be Austen Kenning the celebrity, but Austen Kenning the musician. I'll continue to release albums, and I hope you'll continue to support me. Most of the fans in the audience were crying. My eyes were also moist as I watched him pick up his guitar again. The last song is called Parting. Once, it was both my most loved and most hated song. Now, after everything, I can finally sing the original version for you all. Its real name is Reunion. I suddenly looked up, meeting Austen's smiling eyes. Parting, reunion. It was as if there was a red string of fate, tying us back together. True lovers never miss each other, they always reunite in the end.